gently close the doors of your mind to the outside world. Imagine leaving the weary noise of the city and the chaos of artificial lights far behind you. As you lift your head toward the deep velvet darkness of the sky, you see an infinite river of stars pouring over you. The silvery dust of the Milky Way whispers a sweet, lingering chill to your soul. Thousands of years ago, in the very spot where you now stand, your ancestors sat by a flickering fire, gazing at these same glimmers. They gave names to those distant lights, imbued them with divine stories, and found their way through the dark nights by their glow. And then they asked that ancient question within their hearts, in this vast, majestic silence: are we truly alone? If you would like to accompany us through this infinite silence and the mysterious paths of the universe, feel free to subscribe to the channel and become a part of this peaceful journey. In pursuit of this ancient curiosity, we turned our eyes to the sky with a deeper silence. We spread vast wings to catch the unseen colors of space. We listened to the echoes of the colossal fires burning in the hearts of stars. We watched the galaxies gliding through the dark, observing the elegant and silent dance of the nebulae. But today, the light of modern science has brought us to the edge of a magnificent abyss that pushes the limits of our minds. New secrets whispered by cosmology point toward a completely different horizon. Perhaps the question we have been asking for centuries was directed at the wrong target, looking in the wrong direction. Perhaps the real mystery is not whether someone else exists among those distant lights. Perhaps what we truly need to ask is this: is this vast cosmic arena, which we believe to be the only stage for all existence, merely a lonely dream in the heart of the infinite void? Come now, let us set aside the familiar boundaries of your mind. Let us open a door that stretches far beyond even your wildest dreams. We are slowly leaving behind everything you know, that warm and safe harbor, our gentle, pale blue world where we take our breaths. In mere seconds, we pass the icy shores of the solar system, the silent stones of the Kuiper Belt, and the mysterious mists of the Oort cloud. As we glide upward from the shimmering spiral arms of our own Milky Way, the majestic dance of billions of stars transforms into a glowing cloud of dust beneath your feet. Let us increase our speed beyond all imagination. Now, even entire galaxies flicker like fireflies in the dark, at the end of a journey that would take billions of years even at the speed of light. We arrive at the ultimate edge, where our cosmic horizon ends. This is the far shore of the observable universe, the absolute and insurmountable boundary that light has traveled since the dawn of time. Before you lies a spectacle 93 billion light years wide, a colossal, silent, and cold sphere housing over 2 trillion galaxies and countless black holes. For centuries, every story, every belief, and even science itself assumed this vast sphere was everything. The only reality that is, was, and ever will be a single stage, a single play. But what if there is a margin of error within all this grandeur? What if our universe, 93 billion light years wide, a scale our minds struggle to even grasp, is nothing more than a simple, tiny drop of water floating in an infinite ocean? To trace the roots of this staggering possibility, we must travel back to the first moment, when space and time had not yet been born, the dawn of creation. Our story begins exactly 13.8 billion years ago. In that instant, all matter, all energy, and even time itself were compressed into a point, trillions of times smaller than an atomic nucleus, unimaginably hot and incredibly dense. And then, in a heartbeat, everything began to expand. The Big Bang most of you imagine was not a bomb exploding in a void. No, it was the very fabric of space itself stretching outward with inconceivable speed, blossoming from the heart of nothingness into existence. This is where the theory of cosmic inflation enters the stage. In the 1980s, physicists discovered a very strange moment within this massive expansion. In a fraction of time shorter than a trillionth of a second, our universe expanded at an unimaginable rate, driven by the repulsive force of a mysterious energy field we call the false vacuum. This was not a gentle expansion like a balloon inflating. It was a moment of cosmic violence, where dimensions tore away from each other billions of times faster than the speed of light. Imagine a tiny strand of DNA suddenly growing to the size of a vast galaxy in a mere blink of an eye. The perfect smoothness we see in the sky and the uniform temperature in every direction are the legacies of that violent moment. The cosmic background radiation captured by our most advanced eyes is the echo of that first second, written in golden letters across the cosmos. Yet, science, while answering the most innocent questions, sometimes awakens the most terrifying monsters from their slumber. Now, contemplate the truth hidden behind the complex equations of cosmic inflation, a truth that plunges even the boldest minds into a profound silence. Mathematics whispers a staggering secret to us. Once this colossal expansion begins, stopping it simultaneously in every corner of the universe is, by the most fundamental laws of nature, impossible. We call this infinite cycle eternal inflation. In your mind, imagine a boundless, shimmering sea of mist where every color bleeds into the next. This sea is filled with energy that undulates incessantly, growing larger with every passing second. Within this eternal mist, occasionally, a small region settles, grows still, and begins to cool within itself. Each of those calming points transforms into a peaceful island of light, glowing in the midst of that magnificent sea of mist. That unimaginably vast space you call the universe, spanning 93 billion light years, is in reality just one of those countless islands of light that happen to drift ashore and gently cool its surface. And you are currently resting in the quietest, most peaceful corner of one of those islands, held in the embrace of the night. Exactly 13.8 billion years ago, in a tiny, delicate spot within that infinite and shimmering sea of mist, a vibration, like a faint whisper, occurred. At that point, the dizzying expansion suddenly grew still, yet the colossal energy that fueled the inflation did not vanish. It simply changed form. It transformed into a miracle, into light, radiation, and the purest state of matter. That moment was the first majestic awakening of our universe, what we call the Big Bang. Over time, the energy cooled. Tiny particles, joined by a longing for one another, formed the first atoms. In the deep silence that lasted for millions of years, the tender hands of gravity gathered matter together and ignited the sacred fires within the hearts of the first stars. Those stars lived, they aged, and when the time came to say goodbye, through magnificent explosions, they released their most precious treasures into the void like gifts: iron, carbon, and life-giving oxygen. For billions of years, that dust drifted, creating planets, those deep blue oceans, and finally, you, who now gaze at those distant lights and ask, who are we? Time within our small island of light has crafted a masterpiece. But just beyond the shores of our peaceful island, in that bottomless sea of mist past our cosmic horizon, the undulation never ceased. At this very moment, as I whisper these words and you take that deep breath, within that dark void expanding millions of times faster than the speed of light, brand new islands of light continue to be born. The inflation, that majestic dance, did not grow still only where we reside. In other depths of that infinite sea of mist, different whispers echo, and brand new islands of light continue to be born, tearing through the darkness with their own big bangs. It is here that we stand at the threshold where our cosmic loneliness finally ends. The idea of a multiverse is not merely a construct of dreamers. It is an inevitable truth offered by the most profound equations we have built to understand the language of the stars and the silent song of the sky. If that initial moment of inflation is real, then this infinite sea of islands is a mathematical necessity. Perhaps on some of those distant islands of light, instead of the three-dimensional paths we know, there are mysterious trails consisting of 10 different dimensions that our minds struggle to grasp. In others, gravity might be so weak, so shy, that stars never awaken, and those universes remain forever as silent, cold clouds of gas. In another, atoms might shatter before they can ever construct a complex life. Desolate realms where life never visits, or perhaps corners of paradise where everything is even more perfect than our own. Far beyond our perceptions in that boundless void, trillions, quadrillions, perhaps literally an infinite number of universes glide slowly. And we are the fortunate observers trapped within a single bubble whose skin is gently cooling and expanding in that boiling, eternal sea, watching this magnificent silence with awe. But what could that invisible boundary be made of? The one that holds us within this vast island of light. Is the concept we call dimension truly just steps taken left, right, forward, or back? If there are other worlds within that infinite sea of mist, could they share a hidden bond, a silent whisper with our own reality? To see the true face of reality and to unravel the enchanting architecture of the multiverse thread by thread, we now turn our gaze away from the giant telescopes of the sky. It is time to look deeper into the miraculous world of microscopes, into the invisible labyrinth of choices, and far beyond the mirror. Now, prepare to glide toward the deepest corners of your spirit, for the universe is much stranger, far more crowded, and just as enchanting as you could ever imagine. Now, let us slowly pull our gaze away from those colossal islands of light and glide toward the mysterious world within your very palms. Let us look together at the delicate, ethereal threads that weave the thin membranes of existence. Imagine feeling a smooth river stone washed ashore with your fingertips, or the touch of a cool night breeze caressing your skin. This world you perceive is actually a fairy tale veil offered by your senses, showing only a fraction of the truth. When you touch that river stone, you do not feel the solid matter itself, but rather the invisible and immense repulsive force created by clouds of electrons. As you descend into the depths of matter, every sensation of hardness and solidity simply melts away, When you break that river stone down into its atoms, its nucleus, and finally those tiny quarks, what remains? Only emptiness? For centuries, we imagined the foundation of the universe as lifeless, frozen dots. But the vast mystery of gravity refused to be confined within those tiny points. On one side stands Einstein, the master of space-time that bends as smoothly as a sheet of silk. On the other, the quantum laws that govern the fierce, uncertain, and stormy sea of the subatomic world. Yet when these two giant ideas meet at the most hidden point of the universe, all those perfect equations fall silent, one by one. Nature could not be as still as a calm lake and as chaotic as a raging ocean at the same time. It was in the midst of this great deadlock that an elegant and magical whisper arose, capable of uniting everything in a single song. String theory. String theory looks at the nature of existence through a completely different window. It tells us that at the very foundation of the universe, there are no lifeless, zero-dimensional dots, but rather unimaginably tiny, vibrating filaments of energy. The strings. You might find it difficult to grasp just how small these strings are. Think of it this way. If you were to expand a single atom to the size of the vast Milky Way galaxy, with its billions of rotating stars, only then would a single string reach the size of a human being. The hidden fabric of reality is not so much made of matter as it is of music, of a constant frequency. Imagine the strings of a magical instrument beneath your fingertips. The same string, touched differently, produces different notes, sometimes a peaceful C and sometimes a melancholic E. According to string theory, the entire universe is a massive and magnificent cosmic symphony. When those tiny energy filaments vibrate at a specific rhythm, they bring forth an electron, the very soul of light and electricity. When they dance at a different frequency, they create a quark, the heart of matter. And most miraculously, a certain mode of vibration gives birth to the mysterious messenger of gravity, the one that holds vast galaxies together and embraces relativity and quantum mechanics in peace. You, me, those bright stars gliding in the sky and the boundless galaxies, even the invisible weave of time and space itself. Everything is but an echo within the endless symphony of these silent filaments. You are, in fact, a part of the most beautiful song the universe has ever composed for itself. String theory offers physicists that ultimate dream, the theory of everything, a single framework that summarizes all the secrets of existence. But the immense mathematics at the heart of the universe asks for a price. It demands a silent sacrifice. This three-dimensional world we breathe in, along with the steady flow of time, is a cage far too narrow to hold such a colossal truth. If you try to constrain these equations within only the four directions we know, left, right, forward, and time, the elegant fabric of reality begins to tear. The music of the sky suddenly falls out of tune, and all mathematical consistency vanishes like grains of sand slipping through your fingers. To bridge the fierce winds of the quantum world with the calm river of relativity, physicists require a much larger space. For mathematics to capture that perfect echo, that divine resonance, brand new rooms must be opened within the hidden geometry of the cosmos, secret directions and deep folds that our minds have yet to encounter. Listen to the inevitable and enchanting number of mathematics, 11. According to M-Theory, our universe is a magnificent palace consisting of 11 dimensions where 10 spatial and 1 temporal path intersect. But what of the others? Why can we only perceive forward and back, left and right? The answer physicists offer is both simple and deep enough to scatter your mind like mist. Those 7 mysterious paths refused to expand during the Great Expansion at the dawn of existence. Instead, they folded gently upon themselves within every single millimeter of space, imprisoned in microscopic curls that we can never touch. Now, imagine a thin thread woven from silk, appearing perfectly smooth and straight from a distance. To you, it is merely a single line. You can only move forward or backward. Yet for a tiny speck of dust wandering upon that thread, there is another dimension, a circular and deep path wrapped around it that remains hidden from your sight. These secret paths are tucked away in the heart of every millimeter, concealed within an infinite topological web so minute that our massive bodies and limited senses cannot possibly perceive them. From the very heart of this 11-dimensional architecture arises a possibility far more striking, transcending even the idea of bubble universes. M-Theory speaks to us not only of vibrating strings, but of brains. These brains are stages that carry all of reality, sometimes appearing as a colossal veil, other times as a deep, 3-dimensional volume. Release your mind into the peaceful vastness of the bulk, that higher dimensional void of 11 dimensions. Our vast universe, 93 billion light years wide, might be nothing more than a thin, delicate membrane, a brain gliding silently through this infinite expanse. You are, at this moment, resting peacefully upon a translucent silken page, drifting within that eternal depth. We, along with our stars, our galaxies, and every tiny speck that weaves our bodies, are tenderly sealed onto the surface of this 3-dimensional membrane of light. Yet within this vast void, the ancient bulk, countless other universes drift, much like transparent layers of silk floating in a profound silence. Billions of membranes, billions of colossal worlds, each living its own fairy tale in that hyperspace our minds struggle to grasp. Perhaps another is as close to you as a single breath, separated by a distance so narrow that even atoms cannot perceive it. But because we are confined to our own dimension, we cannot see the rotation of those massive galaxies just a step away. We cannot touch them, nor can we hear their voices. A great sun belonging to another reality might be rising right beside you, yet you will never feel the warmth of its light. And yet, it wouldn't be right to say we are entirely disconnected. Among the enchanting notes of string theory, there is one lone traveler that can break free from the tight bonds holding everything to this surface. The mysterious messenger of gravity, the graviton. It is the only vibration that refuses to bow to any boundary, the only one capable of building that silent bridge between universes. Gravitons. They are the mysterious, free-spirited travelers in the form of closed loops, never bound to stay anchored to this 3-dimensional membrane of light. They can drift out of your world into the depths of the 11-dimensional bulk, or arrive from another universe to touch your silence. Perhaps that immense, invisible force we call dark matter does not truly belong to our own universe. Perhaps it is but the gravitational whisper of a colossal neighboring world, standing as close to you as a single breath, yet forever hidden from view. You are merely feeling its vast shadow. Even more enchanting is this. As these colossal pages of light glide through that eternal void, they are sometimes drawn toward one another. Imagine the moment two massive membranes slowly approach and finally meet within those indescribable depths. In that instant, a staggering energy, an infinite light, and brand new laws of physics are born. This majestic embrace, where strings break and reality is rewritten, may be the very dawn you call the Big Bang. According to the ekpyrotic model, everything began with that first touch, where two giant oceans of existence merged into one. The birth of our universe is far more than a single thunderous explosion. It is a cosmic embrace whispered between colossal, higher dimensional beings in the dark, the first spark of a cycle that knows no end. If the mysterious music of the strings holds true, the multiverse is not merely composed of bubbles expanding in the far distance. We are surrounded by pages of light, eternally gliding, touching softly, and being reborn with every contact within that 11-dimensional deep ocean that envelops our surroundings, our souls, and all our dimensions. But infinity will not be confined only to distant galaxies and massive scales. As we dive beyond these membranes of light into the quieter, deeper waters of the quantum realm, a much more personal reality awaits us. A multiverse so staggering it challenges our very existence and every breath we take. While we search for that vast infinity in the depths of space, the quantum world whispers every second, with every choice, that billions of new paths are branching out around us. Now, if you are ready, let us glide peacefully into the dizzying garden of possibilities, into the heart of Hugh Everett's many worlds theory, toward our other reflection in the mirror. Now, slowly pull your mind away from the massive abysses of 11-dimensional hyperspace. Let us leave the shores of that cold, infinite ocean and descend into the most hidden, most fairy tale corner of existence, into the microscopic garden hidden within every cell of your body, within every breath you take, the quantum world. Multiverses may not only exist beyond the distant boundaries reached by telescopes, but at the very heart of every beam of light touching your eyes right now. The magical and lawless dance of the quantum realm is entirely disconnected from the rigid, predictable laws of the world we know, and this severance introduces us to the most staggering interpretation in the history of physics, the many worlds. It all begins with that famous and mysterious double-slit experiment. Imagine sending tiny travelers of light, one by one, toward a silver screen with two thin openings. Your mind expects them to pass through a single path like grains of sand, leaving a simple mark behind. But nature performs its unique play for us. On the screen, elegant wave patterns appear, like ripples created by stones cast into the still waters of a river. Even a single traveler of light passes through both doors at once, meeting itself like a phantom, appearing there as a cloud of probability. This is what we call quantum superposition, or simultaneous existence. A traveler of light belongs to no specific place until you gaze upon it with awareness. It is a silent potential, drifting within a mathematical sea of dreams where all possibilities overlap and intertwine. But the moment we reach out with our curiosity, asking, which door did this light pass through? That is when the enchanting mist suddenly dissolves. The fairy tale order of the quantum world breaks in an instant, and the infinite sea we call the wave function collapses. The light suddenly decides to choose a single path. Those complex and elegant wave patterns vanish, leaving behind only two simple lines. It is as if your gaze has conjured that reality out of nothingness. The Copenhagen interpretation, which ruled the world of physics for years, whispers this to us. Until you measure it, the particle is everywhere. But in that brief second you look at it, only one of the infinite possibilities survives. All other paths, all those unlived lives, are pushed outside of time and space, sinking into an eternal silence and vanishing forever. For many years, we believed that the key to reality was hidden solely within our gaze. Like a magician's wand, the Copenhagen interpretation whispered that the vast sea of universal possibilities magically shrank into a single drop the moment we chose to look. But in 1957, a young and brilliant mind named Hugh Everett launched a quiet but profound rebellion against this mystical acceptance. Everett could find no such word as collapse within the perfect, smooth pages of mathematics. While Schrödinger's famous equations describe the flow of the universe like a gliding river, nowhere did they suggest that the river suddenly ran dry. And so, Everett whispered the staggering question that no one had dared to ask until then. What if that magnificent wave function never fades away? According to Everett's radical claim, when a quantum event occurs, all other paths do not simply vanish into the darkness. On the contrary, every possible outcome blossoms simultaneously within the same reality, but not all under a single sky. In that instant, the entire fabric of space and time silently splits in two within a billionth of a second. Two entirely independent realities are born, two different universes that will never hear each other's voices. While you walk down your chosen path, that other possibility you did not take continues to write its own story in an invisible world right beside you. Come, let us return once more to that silver screen with two doors, to that mysterious experiment. When you observe that traveler of light passing through the right-hand door, no magic was truly broken, and no possibilities simply faded away. It is only that you, with your consciousness, joined the right-hand branch of that luminous path. In that very same second, another you, who smells just like you, carries your same childhood memories, and answers to your very name, diverged into the other reality suddenly sprouting in that infinite void, the left-hand path. For that other you, the only reality is the light passing through the left, and just as you feel now, they drift in their own silence, unaware of the existence of other universes. The meaning of this is as immense as it is mind-bending. What we call the universe is not a gentle river flowing in a single direction. It is a majestic tree of life, branching into billions of new paths every second, with every subatomic vibration. Trillions of galaxies, every single star, and even the countless atoms within the tiny cells of your brain. They divide reality into new branches at every moment. Right now, even as you listen to this sentence, a tiny spark in your mind flickers like a falling star. If that minute fragment of energy crosses a threshold, your thought changes and you turn your head to the right, toward that shining star. If it does not, your gaze remains in the darkness to the left. The many worlds whisper, both universes have now been physically created. In one, you looked right. In the other, you looked left. Both versions of you believe they made this choice of their own free will. Yet both are merely leaves budding on different branches of that infinite tree of possibilities. An old teaching whispers that the universe casts a die at every moment, and only a single face turns into reality. Yet, looking through the window of many worlds, when that luminous die is cast, 6 different realities, where 1, 2, and 6 happen simultaneously, silently break away and follow their own paths. No possibility is ever wasted. No dream is ever erased from the infinite library of the cosmos. Every scenario allowed by the laws of physics surely blossoms somewhere within this massive tree of life. Perhaps on one of those branches, you arrived seconds late for that crucial meeting, and the course of your life veered toward an entirely different sea. In another, you decided at the last moment not to board that flight and rewrote your destiny. Even in the dusty pages of history, 66 million years ago, that giant asteroid missed the Earth. The great lizards continued to gaze at the sky, and our story never even began. Perhaps on another shore, Alexander the Great continued to cross the rivers and drew a completely different map of the world. Mathematics tells us with a cold certainty, these possibilities are not mere fantasies. They are living realities hidden within quantum equations. With every breath you take, in every moment as short as a billionth of a second, an infinite number of new yous are born. Space expands by shattering, like stars reflecting in thousands of shards of a broken mirror. This is why this idea both chills our soul and traps us in an enchanted silence. But is there an ultimate limit to this cosmic dance, where everything is possible, far beyond even our imagination? Whether they be those delicate bubbles gliding through the sky, or the mysterious membranes dancing in the heart of infinity, or that quantum forest branching into billions of new paths with every breath you take. Where is the ultimate, most silent destination this dizzying journey leads us? Now, we take our final step toward that magnificent architecture that declares not just physical laws, but numbers and geometry themselves as the very soul of the cosmos, toward that uncanny summit where mathematics and philosophy converge. We have sought our way through a hall of mirrors, stretching from our small shore, 93 billion light-years wide, to the oceans where eternal inflation seethes. From the dark dance of 11-dimensional hyperspace to the quantum worlds that split with your every choice. Yet even as the human mind glides through this vast sea of perception, it still carries that never-ending question of why deep within its heart. Why does the universe possess these fairy tale rules? Why does light travel exactly 299,792,458 meters in a single second with its magical speed? Why is gravity as weak as a mother's gentle touch, while the hidden forces holding atoms together remain so unyielding? Are all these numbers merely grains of dust scattered at random? Or are they the most precise notes of an infinite masterpiece? Now, welcome to that pure and crystalline point where everything begins, the sacred dream of numbers. With the staggering claim of physicist Max Tegmark, we softly pull back the final veil of reality. The mathematical universe hypothesis. For centuries, science has described the rotation of stars with ellipses and the delicate dance of light with wave equations, the perfect language of mathematics. But Tegmark whispers a far deeper secret. Mathematics is not a tool to describe the universe. It is the universe itself, the coolness of the breeze you feel when you reach out, the brilliance of the moon in the sky, or the grounding, tranquil weight of the earth beneath you. Imagine that all this physical texture is, in truth, a massive masterpiece woven from numbers. When you descend into the essence of matter, into its deepest recesses, no substance remains for you to hold. All that is left are mathematical identities, spins, charges, and mass values. That mysterious traveler we call a particle is in fact nothing more than the most elegant solution to an equation, residing in the infinite depths of space. The universe is the purest, most crystalline form of numbers. But if existence is entirely a mathematical dream, what does that mean for these infinite worlds? It is here that we encounter the most magnificent and equally chilling idea. If a mathematical pattern is flawless and contains no contradictions, that pattern must, of necessity, come to life somewhere, not just within our minds or on dusty pages, but in all its glory, as a living, breathing reality. The life we know is a very specific geometric structure, ruled by gravity and three-dimensional space. We are but a small vibration within this massive symphony, but mathematics is infinite. Perhaps there exist countless other mathematical structures where time flows in two different directions, where gravity gently pushes us toward the heavens, or where light glides with the slowness of a tortoise. Each is just as real as you are. We are merely experiencing that one lucky note within this infinite spectrum that allows life to blossom. In the billions of other silent and lifeless structures, there is no one to ask this question. Now, as you rest softly under this cosmic weight, lean toward the most inevitable, most staggering truth of infinity. If possibilities are infinite, then in an infinite sea, everything with a non-zero probability must, sooner or later, with absolute certainty, repeat itself. And it must do so countless times. This is why, perhaps at this very moment, trillions of light years away, in the very heart of another geometric dream, there is another you listening to these words and seeking the same peace. Imagine each of your reflections in that infinite hall of mirrors, vibrating as a sacred note in the depths of the cosmos. You may now set aside all those massive dimensions, the expanding bubbles, and the majestic song of the strings. For you are both the cause and the most elegant consequence of all this infinity. Now, surrender yourself to the tender arms of the night and the perfect silence of numbers, no different from a lullaby. As the lights slowly fade away, the most beautiful composition of the universe will continue to echo in your dreams. Sleep well, the most precious, the most unique fragment of infinity.